So let's talk about Boolean operators. So imagine that I have a console.log and I want to display true or true. Yeah, you see guys, this is the OR operator, A or B. So what do you think this expression is gonna return? Why true, Vicky? Yeah, that's correct, because both expressions are truthy, true and is truthy, true is truthy. That will just return true, as you can see at the bottom. Yeah, that's easy. And what if I got true or false from a Boolean algebra point of view? What is that gonna return? Why true, Elena? That's correct, because we got, sorry guys, someone is trying to join the session, so let me try to, here is Rafa. All right, so Elena is right, because we're using the OR operator. As soon as one of the expression is truthy, it will be returned. Yeah? True or false returns true. And what if I got false or true? What is that gonna return? Why true? Oh, true, false. So, Lauren? That's correct. The rule is the same. When using the OR operator, as soon as a single element is truthy, it will be returned. Yeah. Today, I'm going to present hundreds of examples. Well, hundreds is a bit optimistic, but many. Yeah. So it goes without saying, the next thing you should do is try to replicate them. Yeah. Watch the video again, go to play around, and try to predict what the outcome will be. What if I got, for instance, false or false? What is that going to print? Why false, Alaya? Yeah. Yeah. So the OR operator only returns false, as you'll see in a second. Here you go. If all the expressions are false, yeah? Which is the case. As soon as any of the expressions is truthy, it will return the truthy expression instead. Yeah? You see, I'm remarking the difference between true and truthy. Every true value is truthy, but not every truthy value is true. And same with false. Every false value is falsy, but not every falsy value is false. Let me present you an example. Hello or false. What is that gonna print? Why hello, Vicky? That's correct, because hello is truthy, is evaluated as a truthy value. With the OR operator, as soon as we find the first truthy value, it will be returned. So hello or false will return hello. And what if I got hello or world? What is that gonna print? Again, hello, because hello is the first truthy value. So hello or world will display hello. And what if I got false or world? Oh, what the hell is that? Wait me a second. That's VS Code doing tricks. False or world? Why world? That's correct, Max. That's the most beautiful answer you can provide. Yeah, world is the first truthy value. Yeah, and what if we can obviously concatenate multiple expressions? So can I do, for instance, something like that? So what's that gonna print? Well, that's correct, because that's the first truthy value. Yeah? And what if I got true in the second expression? Oh, not transpile module, what the hell is going on? True. True, that's correct, because true is the first truthy value. So remember the rule, guys. With the OR operator, it will evaluate one after the other. As soon as one expression is truthy, it will return it. Is false truthy? No. Next one. Is true truthy? Yes. Return it. When you have a truthy expression, whatever you do next is irrelevant. So I can do something illegal here. That piece of code on the right-hand side is never gonna be evaluated. It's gonna be ignored. Yeah. Beyond that point, beyond where the position where my cursor is, nothing that's not even gonna be evaluated. That's not gonna run. So even if you do something wrong here, that's okay. It's gonna be ignored. Yeah. So you'll see that will just display true. Any questions? Okay, so this is about Booleans, true or false, and strings. But of course, we can actually make it more complicated. Yeah. So false or true returns true. Hello or true returns hello because it's the first truthy expression. However, what if I got this an empty string? What is that gonna print? Why true? So is an empty string truthy or falsy? It's falsy. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. So empty string is falsy, so it will be skipped, and then JavaScript will return the next one. Yeah. What happens if none of the expressions are truthy? So for instance, empty string or false. What do you think this is gonna print? Why false? The last falsy. That's actually correct, Vicky. That's actually correct. In this particular case, JavaScript doesn't really know what to do, right? Because both expressions are falsy. So if all the expressions are falsy, JavaScript will return the last one, which is, in this case, false. But what if I got something like that? What is that going to print? It's the empty string because of the same reason. Is the first expression truthy? No, no problem. Check the next one. Is the next expression truthy? No, no problem. Check the next one. Is the next expression truthy? No. All right, there is nothing else. So JavaScript will just return the last one, yeah, regardless of whether it's truthy or falsy. If everything before the last one is falsy, JavaScript will return the last one. It doesn't really matter if it's truthy or falsy. So you cannot see anything because that's an empty string, yeah? But that's what is getting returned. So that's between strings and Booleans. But what about numbers, guys? If I want 8 or false. 8, correct, because 8, it's truthy. Yeah, that's correct. And what about -1 or false? So is -1 or are the negative numbers, to make it a bit more generic, considered truthy values in JavaScript? Yes, yes, brilliant, awesome, awesome. Yes, they are. Yeah. So -1 is returned. And what if I got 0? It's false. That's correct. So 0, guys, is the only number in JavaScript considered falsy. So if I got 0 or false, JavaScript will say, all right, is 0 truthy? No. Next one, it doesn't matter because it's the last one, it will be returned. So 0 or false will return false. And what if I got 0 or empty string or false? False is the same thing, right? Is 0 truthy? No. Next one. Is empty string truthy? No. All right, return the last one. So that's gonna return false. And now let me ask you something different. What if I have an array here? What's that gonna return? The array hello, that's correct. Why? Is 0 truthy? No. Is the array truthy? Yes. So false is going to be ignored, yeah? As soon as the OR operator finds a truthy value, it will return it. So that's going to return the array hello. And what if I have an empty array? Interesting. So Vicky said false. Why, Vicky? So empty array is falsy. All right. And Elena, what do you think, Elena? Empty array is truthy. All right. So that will be returned. Any thoughts, guys? Which team do you support? Team Vicky or Team Elena? Oh, okay, cool. So that's interesting. That's interesting. That question is a bit tricky, but in this occasion, Elena is right. Why Elena is right? Because arrays, guys, arrays are always truthy, regardless of whether they have 2 elements, 5 elements, or 0 elements. They are always truthy. And the reason why arrays are always truthy is because they represent an address in memory. One of the workshops that will be coming next month, I think one of you, not sure if that was Maxime or Max or someone, I'm sure, selected a topic about what's the difference between a value variable and a reference value. So as part of that workshop, it's Maxime. So as part of that workshop, we'll see that arrays are a bit of a special. And arrays, regardless of whether you have an array with data or with no data at all, they always exist, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So arrays are always truthy. Because of that, you'll see that if I run it, I got an empty array. So can anyone tell me? Let's change the style a bit. Imagine that instead of having a console log like that, to make the example a bit more pragmatic, I'm going to have an if-else. Console.log something truthy, and then else console.log everything is false. So now I can write some expressions here. So for instance, if I said if true, this is going to say something is truthy. If I type false, that's going to display everything is falsy. If I type true or false, what? Something truthy. That's correct. Yeah? So I'm essentially just rewriting my algorithm to express the same thing in a slightly different way. So what is that going to print? It cannot display empty array, Maxim, because you got some console logs here, right? So it will display either message A or message B. So that will be something truthy. What, guys, if the algorithm is something like tell me if I have elements in the basket. So imagine that the array is the basket. Yeah. So if I got elements, you can say yes, you have something in the basket. Else, we want to display the basket is empty. Is that going to work as it is at the moment? Are you sure? No, that's not going to work, right? Because that's an empty array. So that's going to display, yes, you have something in the basket, which is wrong. Because if we got an empty array, we want to display the basket is empty. So can anyone tell me how can we deal with that problem? No. Well, I mean, listen. If I add an element to array, that will work fine, right? If I got apples, I'll get to line number 3. That's fine. But what if I got nothing? If I just, I went to Tesco, by default I got nothing. Just an empty basket, and I want to. Yes, that's correct, Lauren. That's the trick. Why? Because what's the length of an empty array? 0. Is 0 truthy or falsy? Falsy. That's correct, Lauren. You see? So now, that's a daily basis problem. You are going to have this problem every single day of your life, or every single week at least. Yeah, you need to deal with empty arrays, and that's a good example. Yeah, in this occasion, because we're checking the length of the array, if I got nothing, this platform, the system, the application displays the basket is empty. If I got an element, you'll find out that now there is something in the basket. Yeah? Any questions? What about objects? So what is that gonna print? Truthy or falsy? Or why truthy, Max? That's absolutely fantastic, Max. So Max did something great. He didn't know something, but he is thinking in a very logical way. If what we've seen 2 minutes ago work in a given way with arrays, don't you think that, guys, that arrays and objects have many similarities? You remember the structuring, looping, you know, there are many similarities between objects and arrays. Yeah? So if arrays are always considered truthy, then objects are always gonna be considered truthy. Yeah? Of course, first of all, if I got that, I think no one will say this is gonna return false. Yeah? If I got some data in the object, so that's gonna be truthy. But even if I got an empty object, as you will see in a second, that's gonna return truthy. Yeah? So same problem. What if I want to check if the object has any data or not? What? That? That? That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. So, wait. Give me a second, Elena. You're right, actually. You're right. So, guys, what is anyone apart from Elena can tell me what is that gonna return or print? That's correct. Object.keys returns an array. And that's why we can loop over objects indirectly, as I said before. Yeah? However, is an empty array truthy or falsy? Truthy. So that's going to return truthy again, as you can see on my screen. So how can we deal with the situation? Well, same thing we've done before, right? If my array of keys has any length, then truthy, else falsy. So if I add a variable here, now the array of keys will have an element, the name. Obviously the length will be 1. 1 is truthy, so it will display truthy. Does it make sense? Yeah. So that's about the OR operator. But now let's start over with the AND operator. So if I got false and false, you see that's the AND operator next to video. So what's that gonna return, guys? False and false. False, yeah, that's correct. So AND operator, false and false means false. And what if I got false and true? That's false again. Yeah. Why false? Because the AND operator. Yeah. Someone says. Yeah. Someone will say something. Sorry, Vicky. I think you were saying something first. Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. So the AND operator, it's the opposite to the OR operator. So the AND operator requires all the elements to be truthy. If all the elements are truthy, true and true, for instance, fine, or good. As soon as one element is false, it will be returned immediately. So the right-hand side is not gonna even be evaluated. False and something, that's gonna return false. Why? Because false is the first falsy value. Yeah. What if I got, guys, so for instance, let me think about that. Hello and true. What is that gonna return? Why true? That's correct, Vicky. So hello, is it truthy? Yes. Move to the next one. If that was falsy, it will return it immediately. But because it's truthy, we're still alive. Yeah, we can continue evaluating the expression. Is it truthy? Yes. Then we return the last one. What happens if the last one is, for instance, 0? That's a bit more complicated. What is it going to return? That's correct. That's correct. With the AND operator, if all the previous expressions are truthy, it will return the last one, regardless of whether it is truthy or falsy. So hello and 0 will return 0. Hello and empty string will return an empty string. Hello and world will return world. Yep. So if you think about, I know that's a bit confusing, but that's literally the same as OR, but on the other way around. So OR return the first, actually I can write it down here. So OR returns the first truthy value. If all the values are falsy, returns the last one regardless of whether it's truthy or falsy. Yeah, so that's the OR operator. And the AND operator is, I'm going to copy and paste it, returns the first falsy value. If all the values are truthy, returns the last one, regardless of whether it's truthy or falsy. Yeah? I'm going to share that on the Slack later. But that's the rule. It's nothing else, nothing more, right? So make sure you master these 4 lines, because that's pretty much about it. So now I'm going to make this a bit more complicated. So what if we got, look, so true or false and false or true. Yeah, why true, Lauren? Yeah, that's correct. So that's correct. So, guys, whenever you face this sort of expression, which are probably not obvious, yeah, you cannot answer in less than 10 seconds. So you need to do divide and conquer. You know, guys, divide and conquer. Have you heard about that? So divide and conquer is a mathematical technique that can be applied to, I guess, any single problem in life. That's maybe a bit over optimistic, but the idea behind divide and conquer is to simplify a big problem into smaller problems to get partial results. So even if that feels a bit complicated, divide and conquer means, all right, let's focus on the first parenthesis. Let's focus on that bit. So what is true or false returning, guys? Just the highlighted expression. True. That's correct. So now let's focus on the second expression. What is false or true returning? True. That's correct. You see, that's divide and conquer. Now look at the example, look at the problem I got. Much simpler. True and true, obviously, becomes true. Yeah? What if I change the operators? True and false, or false and true. What's that gonna return? Yeah, so that's false because the first bit, true and false, is false. So I'm essentially comparing false against false again. Yeah, any questions? So my suggestion here is don't prepare, go to Playground and don't prepare your problems, don't prepare your expressions too much. Just do something random and try to figure out the outcome, which is what I'm gonna do now, probably is the last exercise. Look, I'm gonna do something crazy. So empty string or hello and array or empty object.length and -1, something like that. I'll tell you something, I have no idea. I have literally no idea what the hell this is gonna return. But let's try to figure it out. So I'm gonna split it. Yeah. So first of all, so something I like to do. Actually, I got many parentheses here, I think, right? So let me get rid of some parentheses. So the first thing I like to do is let's focus on the parentheses part, yeah, because that part will run first. So regardless of what happened here on the left-hand side, at the end, let's try to solve that problem. So can you tell me what the highlighted bit will return? False, wrong. That's never gonna return false. Wrong. Wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Ah, well, wait, sorry. That's interesting. That's interesting. Why an error? Ah, that's correct. You see, that's a good point about that. I actually I didn't plan that. I didn't want to do that, but by accident. You're right. So in this particular case, look, that's interesting. That's interesting. So probably I ran too far. So that's gonna. Let me comment that out because this example I think is particularly interesting. So look, what happens if I do a console.log of empty object.length? Look. Well, it returns undefined, which is a bit unexpected. Yeah, I have to tell you that's a bit unexpected. But the thing is, can I type empty object.hello? It's still undefined. That's a bit exotic, right? This is one of the oddities of JavaScript. Anyways, on week number 7, I'll give you some details about why is that happening. Yeah, this is regarding something called prototypal inheritance, which is a very important principle in JavaScript. So we'll talk about that on week number 7. If I forget, guys, remember to rewrite this example on week number 7, and then you will clearly understand why that returns undefined. Yeah. The thing is, I wrote that just out of coincidence. I didn't actually wanted to do that, but still, that's interesting. Okay, so let's assume that bit returns undefined. So what undefined and -1 returns? Undefined, that's correct. Why undefined, Vicky? That's correct. That's correct, because that's correct, Vicky, because we got the AND operator, undefined and something will return undefined. Yep. So we got the first bit sorted. But now let's pay attention to the left-hand side. Here we got, look at the expression. That's complicated, guys. That's complicated. The reason why this is complicated is because, look, you see, we got the OR operator plus the AND operator. So, and then another OR operator. So what's the order? I think it's on, no, it's on the other way around. So the expressions are read right to left. Wait. Let's try to understand that. That's tricky. Actually, I wanted to write a tricky example, and out of coincidence, that's trickier than I thought. But that's valid because we really need to understand what the hell is going on here. Yeah? It's just a matter of time. You'll write an application, and at some point you'll have an if else, and because of whatever reason, the code is going through the else route. However, you wanted it to go to the if route, and you need to debug. You need to add some breakpoints to understand why the code is going through the wrong path. Yeah? So that's a good example. Look, I'm gonna rewrite the algorithm again. Actually, at the bottom, yeah, just simplifying the expression on the right hand side. Yeah, that's what I need to evaluate. So, and once again, that's confusing. But look, here what you got is empty string or hello. So you know with the OR operator, it's trying to find the first truthy value. Yeah. So within that expression, empty string or hello, hello is likely to win because it's the first truthy expression. Yeah. However, now we got string hello and empty array. So within that expression, which one wins? What is that going to return? Empty array. Why empty array, Aaron? Correct. With the AND operator, let's read what we wrote here. Returns the first falsy value. Do we have any falsy value here? No. Both hello and empty array are truthy. Then we're here. If all the values are truthy, yes. Here. What do we do here? Return the last one, regardless of whether it's truthy or false. So far, that expression, so I'm gonna break it down again. That's gonna return empty array or undefined. Yep. So what happened, guys? Empty array or undefined, or returns the first truthy value. Do we have any truthy value in that expression? Which one? Empty array. That's correct. That's why if we run it, that returns an empty array. Yeah. So that's an example of how tricky these things could be. Yeah. If I were you, I would. If I had to review that code, I will never, ever approve that code because that's too complicated. Yeah? It's logical, yes. If you spend 5 minutes, you'll understand it. But to me, that's overcomplicated. So how can we simplify? The first thing I would like to strongly suggest you to do is please add parentheses. Parentheses are harmless, and parentheses help to understand the code. Yeah. So parentheses specify the sequence. So if you add some parentheses, something like that, yeah. So it will run the first part first and the second part later on. Yeah. Obviously, depending on where you put the parentheses, that may affect the outcome of the exercise. Yeah. So if I maybe in this occasion it's not going to make any effect, but I hope you can see it's not the same to do empty string or hello than empty string or hello and array. I mean, in this particular case, it could be the same, but I hope you get the point, right? So depending on what we evaluate first, the output could be A or B. But the thing is, once you know what you want to build, make sure you highlight your sequence by surrounding the expressions that you want to group with parentheses. Because if I see, imagine that that's what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, it's much simpler because then what I can do is I can separate it. Okay, I got empty string, or then what is that bit specifically returning, guys? What is hello and empty array returning? Empty array, that's correct, guys. And then likewise on the right hand side, can anyone refresh me? What is that bit returning? Undefined, correct, Vicky. Yeah. So you see, thanks to the appropriate usage of the parentheses, it is much easier to divide and conquer. It is much easier to simplify my expression. Yeah. So then, yep. And then, no, sorry. I think before I said we go from the right to the left, but don't think that was correct at all. So sorry about that. No, we got from left to the right. When we split it with parentheses, what do you mean? No. Just go left to right, Vicky. So empty string or arrays, that will that's the array, yeah. But then we got array or something else that's gonna return the array. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I mean, I'll tell you something, guys. If I keep complicating the example, at some point I will give up. I mean, if I keep adding an or, this is going to be a monster. Yeah? It's going to be a monster. So it goes without saying that at some point that's not gonna scale. So the last thing I could suggest you is, for instance, let me simplify it a bit. So imagine that I want to check if I got an object with data and I got an array with data. So for instance, I got a variable called let user equals name Peter. And at the same time, I got the scores of the user in the platform that are whatever. Not with dots, yeah? Maybe I got something like that. And I want to create an if-else statement. So if I got user details and I got scores, then I will display console.log. Yes, we have user with details and scores with values, something like that, yeah? And then we can present some information to the user, whatever. Else we are gonna do console.log. Sorry, we do not have enough info to display, something like that. So can anyone tell me what should I write here on line number 4? User and scores, like that. Remember, guys, I need to have a user with details, at least one property, the name, and scores with values, at least one score. So can anyone see where the problem of what Maxim has suggested is? Replace and with or. I think you are making it worse, mate. You are making it worse because if you got a user but you got no scores, so what's that gonna print? Anyone, guys? What's that gonna print? Are you sure? That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct, Max. So we got user, which is truthy, or scores, which is undefined, that is falsy. Truthy or falsy returns the first truthy, so that's truthy. So that will display, yes, we have blah, 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 which is wrong, because that's not what we want to do, right? We want to display the message only if I got an array with numbers, yeah? At least one. So what should we change? So scores greater than what? What do you think, guys? Does that make sense? Scores is an array. Dot length. That's correct, Lauren. That bit is optional. Actually, that's fine. You can keep it. You can keep it. But the thing is, if you remove it, that's actually the same thing. Because if the scores dot length is 0, that's going to be falsy. If the scores dot length is 1, 2, or 3, that's going to be truthy. So if we run this example, then fine. But that code is buggy. I can find so many problems, so many scenarios where it's not going to work as expected. For instance, what is that going to return? All right, so Elena said yes. Well, yes, whatever. Who else? All right, so let me insist on the question. What's that gonna return? And that's a friendly way to tell you you're wrong. So who wants 1.5 points on the board challenge? You get another chance to pay attention. Well, sorry. Sorry, guys. That's absolutely my fault. You are right, Elena. I was thinking something else. So ignore me. I'll tell you what I was thinking about. You are absolutely right. So yes, you all get 1.5 points because I was miserable and stupid here, right? Yes, sorry, guys. You are right. You're right. First things first. I would like to show you in a second what I was thinking, actually. Let me give you some points to Lauren, Elena, and who was the other one? Aaron? Guys, this session is recorded. We can play the bar afterwards. We can rewatch it. All right. No, so you're right. Guys, first things first. You are right. Why you are right? Because is user truthy or falsy? Truthy. So what happened with the expression on the right hand side? It's going to be ignored. Yeah, remember. Or returns the first truthy value. That's it. User is truthy, return it. What I was thinking, and I don't know why I wrote it on the other way around, that's what I was thinking. I just flip the expressions. And now you are going to tell me what's that going to return. Maxim, sorry, okay. Who else? Elena, yes. Vicky, I think, agrees with you. Elia, Lorraine, Rafa. So everyone is here, right? That's interesting. Now I'm convinced you are wrong. If I'm wrong again, I will stop streaming and I will go back to Spain to have some holidays. So why I think you are all wrong? Look, what's the value of scores? Undefined. What happened when you try to do undefined dot something? You see, that was a trap. Classic job interview question, guys. What's that gonna return? And you feel very confident, very comfortable, and you miserably fail. So you need to be careful. But that's interesting, guys, because you can see how much it affects the order of the elements. If I put user in front, it's all good, right? Why? Because as user is truthy, whatever you go next is ignored. However, when I put scores.length first, that's the first part. That's invalid. It's not truthy or falsy. That's a syntax error. So JavaScript is gonna give up here, and it's gonna vomit an error. Yeah. So what if I want to control that? So once again, the problem is still the same. I want to control the situation. So how can we do that? Yeah, but wait a minute, Elena. Obi.keys will make sense later on when talking about the user. But now my focus is on the scores, on the array. Let me show you. Let me show you. So what I will do here is that. Yeah. If I got scores, guys, that's a classic pattern in JavaScript coding. And I got length on these scores, then check something else. Yeah. If I don't have any scores, because I'm using the AND operator, yeah, if that's falsy, that's gonna be falsy completely. Yeah. So that's the way I can prevent from exploding, yeah, from having syntax errors. Because if a score is undefined, that bit is not gonna be evaluated. So in this particular case, look, that's not gonna blow up anymore. However, the code is wrong because it says that I got all the details. So can anyone tell me where the problem is? Say it again, Vicky. That's correct. What should I put here? And that's correct, because I want all the details. I want all the user details, and I want all the score details. So if I run it, it says, sorry, we don't have enough information to display. If I have an array with some scores, it will be okay. Yes, you got all the details, as you can see. And what if I got an empty array? What is that going to print? Yes or sorry? All right, one by one. So who wants to start? Why, Elena? And Elena and Maxim? Oh, what's why, Elena? That's correct. Is a scores truthy or falsy? Correct. Is scores.length truthy or falsy? So what happened when you go truthy and something else? Remember, and operator returns the last one, yeah, which is 0. So the first bit will return 0. 0 and something, doesn't matter, yeah, and returns the first falsy value. 0 and something, 0 is falsy, so it will be returned, yeah. So that will display sorry, blah 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 blah. A, which is correct, because that's what we wanted. That's exactly what we wanted. So everything is working fine. However, can you see any cabit? Can you see any potential problems with this algorithm? That's correct. That's correct, Lauren. What happens if the user is empty? What's that gonna return? Correct, which is wrong, yeah, because we don't have any details about the user. So how can we control the situation? That looks better. That looks better. Why? Because now we are checking if we got any keys in the user. So what's that gonna return, guys? Yes or sorry? All right, so It will be sorry. That's correct. Is the first bit truthy or falsy? That's correct. So the first condition is met, is satisfied. Yeah, we got some scores. But what about the second one? What's that going to return? Yeah, correct. 0, which is falsy. So when you got truthy and whatever, it will return the last bit. Yeah, the last one. And the last one is falsy. Yeah, so that's gonna display sorry, as you'll see in a second, which is correct. That's correct. Yeah, that's what we want because we don't have any details about the user, so we cannot display the name, the age, whatever. That's fine. Can anyone see any scenario where, you know, that could be a bit problematic? That's a good point. What happened? What happened? That's a good point, Lauren. That's a fantastic point. What happened if I do console.log object.keys of nothing? Let's run it. Let's run it. Look, it throws an error. Yeah? So object.keys requires an object. So as Lauren has suggested, what happened if user is undefined? Can anyone tell me what is that gonna return? Max, error. Why Max? Max. Yeah. That's fantastic, Max. That's fantastic. Look. That's correct. You see, you cannot apply object.keys with an object with an undefined. Yeah. So that throws an error. But what if we want to control that? How can we solve the problem? That's correct. That's correct. With parentheses, even if it's just for readability purposes, if I have an object, yeah, you can do something like that. You can do something like that. Yeah. And then it should work fine regardless of whether we got data or not. So if user is undefined, it works. If score is undefined, it works. Yeah, so that's gonna work fine on any scenario. Obviously, we could still have problems if data was different, if scores was a number or a string. But you know, I don't want to complicate that anymore. Yeah, I don't want to complicate anymore. So in mind that user is either undefined or an object, and scores is either undefined or an array. Yeah. So if guys, that's not that strange. Yeah? This expression is relatively common. You want to display some details to the user, and then you need to rely on a couple of variables, and you need to write all of that. If that's the case, I'm not against the complexity of the expression. I'm against the complexity of that line. In other words, thanks to the parentheses, we can hopefully easily think about extracting that complexity into some functions. Look, I'm going to create a function called has scores. And then that function will return that. Likewise, I'm going to create another function called has user details, for instance. Yeah? It will receive the user, and then it will return that data. Okay? So now, look, I hope you agree with me. The code becomes much more readable, because now we are telling what are we trying to achieve. If I got scores about the user and I got details about the user, then display yes, I got all the details. If any of these conditions fails, I will display sorry. It's exactly the same piece of code, but I've refactored it So it becomes much more readable. So if I want to know how do we calculate if the user has scores or not, I can focus on that expression without the noise of the user. And likewise, if I want to know how do we calculate what the user has details, I can I can pay attention to line number 16 without the noise generated by the way we calculate the scores. Okay? So that's some sort of divide and conquer. That's a way to refactor your code to make it more readable to your audience. And that's pretty much it, guys. So do you have any final thoughts? No? All right, so that's it from my side, guys. I'm gonna share that on the Slack in a minute. Let me know if you need any help on Slack. Thank you very much, guys, and see you later.